Hello everyone. Good morning. A very good morning to all of you. We had little bit of a time inconvenience with the internet issues, but that's okay. I'm fine now. Uh, we are almost done with our ethical issues topic and also with the guidelines concerning good clinical practices in with respect the guidelines with respect to ICH GCP and Indian GCP, which is ICMR. And when we are talking about the compliance of those guidelines, is nothing but how you are adhering to guidelines. So whatever topics we have learned by far under those guidelines will be only known as the compliance to GCP. So how the compliance to the GCP will be hold. So you will be writing about by adhering to the guidelines written, like you'll have to explain about the responsibility of the sponsor and investigator and like what all things comes under the compliance criteria, that all you will have to mention. Then secondly, uh, it is the one thing we did not talk about is clinical research organization. So what are clinical research organization? So these are the contract based organization. So they are also called contract research organization, where the contracts will be given by the companies to this organization and they will conduct the study for you. So most of the time, sponsors select multiple clinical research organizations to conduct your clinical trials. Okay, so it could when especially you want to involve lot many people, lot many subjects in your clinical trial. So that is when a sponsor would go ahead and select multiple clinical research organization or contract research organization, you can call it. And all these CROs, they have a same structure, same facilities as that of a normal clinical research organization, and they'll make sure that they're able to adhere to the guidelines which are specified by the sponsor to them. So they will make sure that they are following all the rules and regulations that are specified in a particular study, whether be it from India, whether be it from US, whether be it from Europe. So generally, when you look at the clinical research organization, they have many facilities inside. In the sense, they will have one huge area with beds, like it will look like hospital because you'll have to keep subjects in your facility, right? So at least the place where I worked, we had around 80 to 100 people subjects capacity. So we had those many beds because you will be keeping those subjects in your facility at least for 3 4 days. So we had those many beds and those many people could stay nicely, and then you'll have to have a pantry area. Then you'll have to have a phlebotomist area where all the blood samples will be collected and they will be stored until they are transported to a facility where you will be doing the bioavailability and bioequivalence test on the blood samples or the urine samples that you have collected. Then also you will have an area where only clinical research organization will sit to do their administrative task, right? Then you will be having one screening area. Then you will be having one ICU unit. Then you'll be having one nursing area. Then you'll be having in screening area only you'll have one place where a physician will sit in order to screen all the subjects. Means he will be the one who will screen in the sense normal जो vitals check रहता है वो सब करेंगे physician. And then you have means this much is the pretty much setup of the clinical research organization. So these many areas are compulsory for a contract research organization to be there. So this is like where actual studies are taking place. There are other contract research organization also who are only into data management. Okay, so in that case, you will not find any place for subjects or pantries. So there will be like lots of computers, and people will be working on the computer to manage the data that has been generated during the clinical trial. Okay, so very important. This information is very important. Then the other point which is there in your notes, which I did not specify, is about washing period. Okay. So what do you mean by washing period? Can anybody tell me? Because I have explained you a little bit about this. What do you mean by washing period between two parts of the study? Am I audible or my voice is breaking? Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what is washing? What do you mean by washing period? Can anybody tell me? Washout period. I mean to say washout period. What do you mean by washout period in clinical research trial? Nobody knows. Or people are thinking or googling since I can't see everyone. Yes, Sheetal, tell me.
Ma'am, the amount of time the drug will take to come, the drug will take to come out of the body.
Yes, the amount of time that is required to eliminate the drug completely out of the body. So that if there are two parts to the study, right? Part one is when one of the subject is getting treatment A, and there is another miss. Generally, washout period is considered for a crossover design. Okay, crossover in the sense if I am a subject in a study, if I am getting drug A in part one, then I'll have to go home, do the washout period timing, and then I'll have to come back again to take the treatment B. Okay? So crossover is, so this washout period is very crucial and very essential. Why? Because you do not want to see the synergistic effect of the drug, right? Because you have to make sure that amount of time that you are going to give two subjects to go home and make sure that the whole of the drug will be eliminated out of the body will definitely, if that period is not taken care of, definitely it will have the effect on the next treatment that you are going to give to your subjects. So that is very important. So washout period के बारे में इतना ही details I can explain you, but in the writings it is given in very nicely in those notes. So but I just want you guys to know the concept of washout period. So these are were little bit of a loopholes which we had left with in this particular topic of our GCP and ethical issues in clinical trials. So I hope I'm very much clear with all the clinical trial studies and etc. Today is a very busy day for us, for me also, and I think for Kalani also, because we have meetings starting from 3 p.m. until 4:30 p.m. So I am not sure if I can do the quiz today as well. So if I'm not able to do it today, definitely we'll have it tomorrow, depending on what time I get done with my meeting. Okay? So I'll let you know the timing and etc. If I'm doing it today or something, because I need some time to set up the quiz. It's not easy task. So if I'm doing it today, I'll let you know. If I'm doing it tomorrow, that also I'll let you know. Okay. If you don't receive any message from me today, till today evening, then you must know that it will be tomorrow. Okay. So I hope everybody has turned in the assignments, because yesterday was the due date. I guess yesterday or Tuesday was the due date. Okay. So I'm almost done with this GCP topic, and now people, Musrat, you did not send me the name of people, first 6 people for doing the presentation part on animal ethics and animal welfare. When you'll do that, Musrat is there or not in today's lecture? I can't see Musrat. So, okay, please remind Musrat that she has to give me the name of the students so that we can schedule the presentations on Friday, Saturday, or something like that. Okay. Uh, so, who will take the responsibility? Dhanashri. Dhanashri is also not there today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, yes. So, Dhanashri, you give me the name of the students, first 6 students, so that they can. Today is what day? Today is Wednesday. So
Wednesday.
Friday, Saturday we can have the presentations, right? At least on Saturday we can have the presentations. 2 days are more than enough to prepare one presentation, right? simple presentation. So I will let just send me the name of the student so that I will tell you which topics to be prepared for. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. So, moving on to the next topics. See, I'm not starting with the DNA sequencing wala topic, because since we are talking about the bioavailability and bioequivalence in all this. See, ultimately, when we have clinical trial, what does it mean when we say that our clinical trial is completed and it is useful and it can show the effects that we are looking for? Uh, when we assess the bioavailability and bioequivalence parameters to the best. Okay, so it is very important for us to understand what do you exactly mean by bioavailability and what do you exactly mean by bioequivalence. Little bit of this part we have done it before. Okay, so you in this particular chapter of ours we are going to look into what what is bioavailability, parameters to evaluate bioavailability of the drug, then factors that influence the bioavailability of a drug, and then evaluating BA of a drug. How will you evaluate? So estimating BA parameters, then same is for bioequivalence. So these many parameters for bioavailability and these many parameters for bioequivalence. So we are going to look into it. So today is just a kind of an introductory lecture for bioavailability. So so content would be like, what is the concept of bioavailability, what are the terminologies, how do you evaluate, and what are different methods of assessing the bioavailability. So that is what we are going to see. So first, very important, what is the definition of bioavailability? So let's see over here. From here we'll see. So what is bioavailability? So let me put this on the full screen. Yes. So bioavailability, it indicates the measurement of the rate and extent, that is amount of therapeutically active drug that reaches the systemic circulation and is available at the site of the action. That is what is bioavailability. Very important definition, and you have to know it as it is. Okay. So bioavailability, what it is, it indicates the measurement of the rate and the extent of therapeutically active drug that reaches the systemic circulation and is available at the site of action. Just give me 1 second here. So in clinical research also, whenever you are trying to do assess the rate and extent of bioavailability of your therapeutic drug that you have invented, new investigational drug you have to make sure that what is the rate and extent of a therapeutically active drug that reaches the systemic circulation. So ultimate goal of yours is that. ठीक है, और इसके ऊपर से see to reach a drug to the systemic circulation, how much amount of time it took, that is what is very important, and that is how you will be deciding your study parameters, at what time point, how many number of blood samples I'll be taking from a human subjects, so that I can assess the appropriate bioavailability of the drug, right? When we are saying that the therapeutic drug is going to reach the systemic circulation, that means by assessing the blood samples from the human subjects, it will let you know, after giving the dose to human subjects or to animals also for that matter, at what time the drug got released, 10% of its amount, 20%, 30%, 40%, and so on. Okay? And at what point it started getting eliminated from the body. So very important, and that is how, see, whenever you are doing a experiment, first you do it in vitro, that means at the lab level. So when you do it at the lab level, you say, for example, you have a half-life bioavailability of the drug, 50% of the bioavailability of the drug is at after 1 hour, as soon as I put the drug into that dissolution unit or something like that. But it will not be the same when I do the preclinical trials or actual clinical trials. So there could be little bit of a difference. In vitro can only guide us how we should go ahead and conduct the preclinical. Preclinical and can only guide us to how we'll go ahead and conduct the clinical trial. But actual में क्या होगा, that we do not know. Okay, so that is what is that is why the bioavailability concept is very important, because bioavailability concept will let you know ki what exactly has to be done in order to make sure that you are having the appropriate amount of therapeutic drug released into your therapeutic circulation. Because when I do an in vitro trial and I come to know that only 10 milligram of my drug is getting available into systemic circulation after the administration of drug, whereas I'm expecting 50 milligram of the drug to be available into the blood circulation, then I can go again back to my formulation and make some changes in the formulation so that maximum amount of the drug will be available in the systemic circulation. Hence, bioavailability parameters play a major important role for you to decide how much amount of the drug should be given to human subjects in order to make sure that the appropriate amount of the therapeutic drug is available into the drug circulation. अगर मैंने 100 mg का टैबलेट दिया है किसी भी इंसान को खाने के लिए, but that is not necessary कि 100 mg ही drug available हो जाएगा systemic circulation में. See, it might be little bit different, but a little bit means it could be 98 mg that is getting available in the system. So means that is 2 mg lesser than 100 mg of the dose. But if I have fully marketed product, उसके ऊपर लिखा है कि 100 mg इतना इतना ये है और drug का content है, that means I know that 100 mg of the drug will be released into the therapeutic systemic circulation. ठीक है, but that 100 mg आने के लिए उन लोगों ने 100 बार bioavailability का testing किया रहेगा. Understanding this part, so they have to do this bioavailability testing at such a level that they have to make sure that whatever amount they are specifying on the packet, that 100 mg of the drug or 5 mg of the drug, that much amount of the drug should be available into the systemic circulation. So that is a very important task and very crucial task. So hence we have to, our main concentration after this clinical trial, after this preclinical trials, it's mainly on the bioavailability of the drug, because unless and until drug is not coming into the systemic circulation, we will not know the effect of that drug and also the side effects of that drug, right? So that is very important. And the good news is that Russia has launched, I don't know whether you guys know it or not, but Russia has got the permission for marketing. Means they have completed all the phases of their vaccine, and now their vaccine will be marketed. So I don't know when we will get it, but it's really required by the society and all of us at this point of time, because we really want to get back to our normal lives. So kudos to Russia. Let's see how far we go in terms of searching the vaccination, but they are promising that it's a very effective, stable, it is creating the stable immunity between the people. So hopefully they are, and first person he did the trial on, means like the first person he administered the dose of vaccine, the person who did it or whatever, he gave it to his daughter only. So we are hoping that we have, anybody has any further information on this vaccine that Russia has is about to launch? Do you guys read news or not? Anybody? Pratibha, I'm sure you must be.
Ma'am,
Yes.
it's
Yes, ma'am.
launched already yesterday.
Yes, it launched. It is launched already. Yes, and then yes, Pratibha, you were telling something.
Yes, ma'am. I'm saying the same thing.
Yes, it is launched already, which is a good news, because see, we are at the third number for amount of people who have got infected, but we are much better than US or any other or Germany, I would say, because even after having such a less population in their countries, they had so many people getting infected, maybe because of the protocol they followed or whatsoever, but then still we could at least contain so many people in their houses and make sure that not everybody is on the streets and getting infected, because that we might not see, because US is also facing so many problems with containing so many people in that means so many people can, where they will keep it for treatment and etc. So many people are dying. So many of my friends, I know they are also facing problems. So many of them, their close relatives, they have died. So it's very horrible in US, but I don't know, their government is little bit not very supportive in this matter. But I don't know. At least we are good. So until the vaccine comes, just we'll stay inside and we'll make sure that we are doing everything by maintaining the social distance. So yes, so that's the good news, that since you guys have also studied so much about the clinical trials, I hope it has helped you to understand what exactly must have happened during the vaccine trial. Yes or no? Just tell me. Do you guys think that whatever we have learned has helped you to understand how exactly the clinical trials must be going on? Yes. So,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Okay. So let's see 1 or 2 minutes of this concept of bioavailability. Then we stop, because we are almost through with the time. I don't know why this timing is so early. I just started the lecture. So concept of bioavailability: the rate and extent at which therapeutically active drug reaches the systemic circulation will be known as bioavailability. So the fraction of administered dose that reaches the systemic circulation in contrast to that stated on the label. So अगर label पे लिखा है 50 mg, but how much is exactly there into the systemic circulation, that is what you want to know. But generally all the companies or all the R&D people in the pharma industry or formulation unit, basically mainly, if we say, they are trying to do what they're trying to make sure that whatever is mentioned on the label content, that much amount should be available into the systemic circulation, right? The rate and extent of absorption of unchanged drug from its dosage form. So that is also important. The drug has to be unchanged. It cannot get modified because of the proteins that are present inside the body. So if there are proteins present inside the body, if they bind with your drug, then what is going to happen? The availability of drug is going to get hampered. The measure a measure relative to some standard of rate and amount of drug which reaches the systemic circulation unchanged following the administration of the dosage form. So uh, basically it is the bioavailability is a measure that will tell you that how much amount of the drug is reaching to the systemic circulation in a unchanged form. So if I'm saying that benzoate, for example, I'm taking just diclofenac sodium as it is has to be delivered to the systemic circulation without any change in its formula, without any change in its structure or anything. So it cannot get bind to any kind of a protein or anything. Then if it gets bind to the protein or something, then the amount of drug that is going to be available into the blood circulation is going to be different. So that is what it is, the concept of bioavailability. So what exactly you have to know uh, that your drug should be available, जो label content पे mention आपने किया है उसको adhere हो रहा है कि नहीं, कि उतना ही ड्रग ब्लड सर्कुलेशन में जा रहा है कि नहीं. अगर नहीं जा रहा है तो how much amount of the drug is getting circulated into the systemic circulation, and whether the drug is changing its conformation or whether it is unchanged. So basically we are looking at unchanged conformation of the drug into the systemic circulation. So that is what is very important. So we stop here over here. There is less than 1 minute remaining. I will continue in the afternoon session. Okay. So I'll see you guys for now. I'm signing off.